Hey y'all, how everybody doing? Listen, we're getting ready to talk about Tamar and Kandi, the latest. We know that these two, obviously, they've known each other for a long time, growing up in the music industry. And Tamar and Tiny at one time having a really close relationship. But we're getting ready to talk about, y'all know Tamar. If you don't know, Tamar did a interview with the Breakfast Club, and Kandi came up and she gave a little topic about that. So we're going to discuss that because I'm going to talk about the real reason that Tamar, in my opinion, has an issue with Kandi. Stay tuned. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, civilians, to the home of elevation, growth, and experience. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. I am the civilized woman. Okay, y'all. So recently, Tamar was on the Breakfast Club, and they asked her about what was going on with Kandi, and what she said was that she basically was like, the issue is that she was lied on. Right now, if y'all don't remember, a couple of years ago, Tamar was on the tour. I think it was either the Escape tour. It was probably the Escape tour. She was like an opening act or something. It was at the time that she was dating that man that she got with off of that dating show. And so there was an altercation between them. Tamar had said that Todd, like came at her, and Kandi was like, "No, Todd was really trying to check me because he knew I was getting ready to really go off on you, Tamar." And so that's what Tamar was talking about. Basically, she just said was she don't know what to do because she just felt lied on, and you can do a lot of things to her, but don't lie on her. And also, we've had this thing with the old lady gang. Another, like a while back again, another videos resurfaced of Tamar discussing the old lady gang. And honestly, in Tamar's defense, she is not the only one that has had not the best feedback when it comes to Kandi's restaurants. People complain about the food, the wait, their service, all these different types of things. So Tamar is not the only one who has expressed that sentiment. I just think it just came off as, Tamar being a hater of Kandi just based on their past history. So that was another thing that resurfaced. So within the past, a few months or so, things have kind of come up concerning Tamar and Kandi, and Kandi basically called her a clown. And in fairness to Kandi is always responding. She is never the one that brings up Tamar. It's usually Tamar making a statement about her, and then she just responds to it. With this latest, with the Breakfast Club interview, Jesse Wu, YouTube and BT and Wild 'N Out personality has come out and basically said is giving a obsession, and she's worked with both of them, and she can kind of attest to what we see of both of them, and she says that it's giving very much that Tamar is obsessed with Kandi, and every time Kandi comes up, she wants to let everybody know how Kandi is not a good person, but Tamar never really gives concrete reasons as to why she don't think that Kandi is a good person. So for me, here's where the problem comes in for Tamar. We have watched her over the years on television with her sisters. And now Tamar is like me. She is a baby of her family. That's like me. That's where the similarities end, in my opinion, because I don't behave like she behaves, to be honest. And Tamar grew up in a house where her opinion was valued. She was quite frankly spoiled and babied, and they kind of let her get away with a lot. I grew up in a house where my opinion was valued and I was respected. However, I wasn't allowed to just talk to my older siblings any kind of way. And we've seen on the show that Tamar really talks to her siblings, and she can, in a disrespectful manner. And I think they allow her to get away with it for so long that instead of the fact that she grew up in a house with mostly girls helping her being able to relate to women better, it actually hindered her to where she can't really have genuine friendships, in my opinion, as we see it, because she always falls out with people. And I mean, quite frankly, both men and women, but I'm going to speak specifically with women since we're talking about her and Kandi. And so she's grew up in a house where she was accustomed to not getting called out on her stuff. It's just this later date as we came in front of the television, that's when they started to call her out on her stuff, and really kind of being like, when something happens is my fault, it's somebody else's fault, like not being able to see the error of her ways in that situation. And I mean, I'll give her credit on the Breakfast Club. She sounded very mature. She sounded like there was some level of maturation in her. But I'm saying all that to say is her real reason for having an issue with Kandi is that if you compare their singing voices, if you let everybody tell it, Tamar is a clear winner as far as the singing is concerned. Now, you may, whatever your thoughts may be about Tamar, one thing you cannot say is that lady cannot sing. She absolutely can flat foot sing. However, we not too much on sleeping on Kandi's voice. I think people do not understand, and this is to me the genius thing that Jermaine Dupri did when he put Kandi out front, especially on that first Escape album, because her voice gave them an identity in terms of their sound. I think he could have took the easy route and used either of the Scott sisters, but the fact that the things that he did using Kandi's voice to sing really defined the Escape sound to me, to the point where y'all remember when there was Escape 3 and it was the two Scott sisters and Tiny, and people didn't really go out to see them as much as it is when Kandi was with them, right? There's a reason for that. There's something that Kandi's voice brings that is necessary, especially if you're trying to create a specific sound. So I don't know why people knock Kandi's voice. I think her voice is very unique, and I think that she can do things with her voice that's very necessary for what needs to be done. So I don't understand the need to always come at her voice in that kind of way. I say all that to say, if you go by the vocals, you would think that the kind of career that Kandi had would be what Tamar would have, just based on the fact that Tamar is a singer. However, the biggest obstacle for Tamar is her likability. Likability is so important. We talked about that too when it came to the Jess Hilarious and Lauren LaRosa issue that came up on the Breakfast Club. It is important. People gotta want to be around you. They gotta want to work with you. And for the most part, whenever we hear about Kandi, people genuinely want to work with her and they want to be around her, and she is appreciated. There's a lot more positive that comes up when people are talking about Kandi than it does when they're talking about Tamar. So what Tamar, in my opinion, needs to do at this point is really focus on, okay, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to accomplish? Not that she's not accomplishing things, but for the voice that she has, she should be on a bigger scale than what she is. And I think the reputation that's around her hinders a lot of her opportunities. So she really needs to dig in deep and look at herself and be like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I really need to do to make sure that moving forward, I'm not knocking myself in the foot, missing opportunities because I keep getting into these one-sided beefs or these unnecessary beefs? Like, Kandi would be a great person to be connected to in the music industry. Y'all don't have to be friends, but she would be a great person to be connected to. That's an avenue that you kind of cut out for yourself. At one point, her and Tiny, they may have circled back, but one point her and Tiny had issues. Tiny is also a songwriter. I understand that Tamar writes a little bit too. So there's all these different people, all these different opportunities that her music her career could progress. And it's not, because she keeps having these public fallout with people and always feeling the need to comment on things. You don't need to comment on things. I understand that the thing about the restaurant was a few years ago, but everybody already knows that you and Kandi had a falling out. So anything you say concerning her is gonna go viral, and it's gonna bring negative attention to you. So why are you even discussing it in the first place? So you had the voice, but the lady has the career. So at this point, you just really need to focus on what you need to do and stop getting into these beefs with people. So is Tamar obsessed with Kandi? I don't know if I would call it obsession per se. I think it would be more so of an audacious kind of feeling of how is it that this girl who don't even have the voice like that can have the kind of career that she's having. And I think that makes Tamar feel away every time Kandi comes up, because if what Jesse Wu says is true, and that's based on Jesse Wu's account, Tamar is doing more harm than good to herself by going on these campaigns every time Kandi's name comes up. She really just needs to let it go and move on and not feel the need to comment on anything that has to do with Kandi. That's my opinion. That's it for now. I truly believe the real reason Tamar has an issue with Kandi is the fact that Kandi has what she would feel like she should have as a person with a better voice. But Tamar, you just got to move on, work on being a better person, work on being somebody that people actually want to work with and be around and tolerate and enjoy, so your career can continue to go in the direction that it needs to go. With your voice, doors are always going to be open for you. Are they going to stay open? Is it going to come back to back, or is it going to take longer because people got to kind of count the costs when they're dealing with you? Just food for thought, Tamar. Think about it. Until next time, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.